Remember the good old days before the pandemic when people coming to your door didn't have to wear a mask? And sometimes they were friendly members of the Jehovah's Witnesses coming to talk about faith and to gain your interest as well. They also had huge conferences through the year that drew millions. Well, that changed drastically when the COVID pandemic hit and took what seemed to be a main part of the faith away. Well, the faith and the millions who follow it still alive, and there's some noticeable changes. But they're good changes for the organization. Robert Hendricks is a U.S. spokesman for Jehovah's Witnesses. Dorian Gamble is a local media representative. Thank you both for joining me. Mr. Hendricks, I know we talked earlier, what an abrupt change, because you have millions of people through conferences around the world on a regular basis. Then when you went virtual, that was abrupt, but it seemed to have been successful.
Well, you know, you can't plan for a pandemic. So as we think about what happened a year and a half ago, 19 months ago, it's not only unprecedented, it's historic. And we look back on it and we come out of this, we think, a better organization, better able to serve the 8.6 million Jehovah's Witnesses around the world. When we went to a virtual format in meetings and also in our ministry and also with our conventions, it was something that new for us, but we had been preparing for virtual environment for many years. Our JW library, 15 million users each month on 15 million devices, 600,000 audio and video, all free. And so we've delivered content for free in a virtual way for many years. And so to shift our meetings and to shift our ministry to a virtual environment was really the next step. And I think our brothers and sisters around the country and around the world have done very well.
And Dorian, I know that here locally as well as nationally, it's a different kind of scenario when people, instead of going and knocking on doors, it's a virtual kind of outreach. What has that experience been like for members of the organization over this, members of the faith, since it's been virtual? How has the transition gone? What kind of feedback are you getting from them?
Well, the feedback has been marvelous. The transition has been exhilarating, really. We were used to being out in the street, in the public. You probably saw our cards down on the Strand or in the medical center, or we were in the airports. And now we've really honed in our skills in talking to people in new ways. That may mean, I know you mentioned, Kimberly, you ran into people in the grocery store and they were able to share something of encouragement. For the most part, we've been contacting people via phone and letter writing and seeing marvelous results. And as a whole, locally, we've seen that many of the congregants have drawn closer to each other.
This whole process has been rather unique. The question now, Mr. Hendricks, is how long you plan to continue doing this. Obviously, you can't plan for a pandemic. You can plan to try to come out of it, though. What is the near and long-term prognosis for the virtual context?
Well, it's interesting that you say you can plan to come out of it. I think we have a good idea how to go into a pandemic because of all of our what we've done and all of our experience over the last 19 months. We don't have an idea how to come out of it. And so we're working on that. In fact, we've just in the last weekend piloted, tested meetings in 12 congregations in Puerto Rico, which is at alert level 1. So it's the only place in our branch territory in the United States that qualified to have meetings. We had localized meetings, invited guests, vaccinated, and we actually had very successful meetings this weekend. We're going to be testing that for the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to look at what the issues are, how to make these meetings hybrid so that they're virtual and live, so that we can provide something that over time may roll out to the rest of the country and the world.
Very impressive the way that you have already kind of pre-positioned your organization to be able to take advantage of the changes that you've had to make. Dorian, I know for the month of November you are focusing on a particular kind of outreach, and you have kind of a title to it as well, which is rather uplifting. Talk about that.
Yes, the goal of this campaign here in Houston and around the world is to distribute a special edition of the Watchtower magazine with the subject, "A Better World is Near." Now, the message is about hope. And we know that hope is not what we know, but it's actually what we believe. And this magazine really bridges the gap between hope or knowledge and belief. For instance, many people in Houston have prayed the Lord's Prayer. They know it. But what does it really mean when that kingdom comes? Well, this magazine answers the question. And it's interesting, as we kind of understand the importance of hope, we see that it can help us physically, but Jehovah's Witnesses believe it can help us spiritually. In fact, we believe strongly that hope is not knowing what you believe. It's actually believing what you know. So this special digital edition will be distributed one-on-one, and it will also be distributed on jw.org in a digital format.
So, and I'm assuming both Robert and Dorian that jw.org is a place to go if you want to get more information about your events that are coming up or anything else that's going on with the organization. And Mr. Hendricks, I'm guessing that you can stay on, if you want to find out what's going on about how you're going to transition out of it, that may be a good place to go.
JW.org is really the most translated website in the world, more than 1,000 languages. It's available to all, and it has all the information that's needed in order to get up-to-date information on both the pandemic, where the organization is, and also to receive information on our virtual conventions, which we deliver through that site. So it's a powerful site, and we encourage those to go to it.
And I will add this, that for those who are curious about the religion, the faith as is practiced by Jehovah's Witnesses, is a good place to go and see some similarities or differences between what you may believe and what they believe and whether or not you're a good fit as well. So Robert Hendricks, Dorian Gamble, thank you so much for what you're doing, and stay safe, and thank you for bringing us up to date on what's going on in your organization and your faith. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.